So Sean, you weren't talking last week and you kind of put the message in chat. I absolutely agree that professional development is always a good business justification for that. I can't justify a lot of these trips out of town where it means I'm going to be generating no revenue, spending a lot of money, and a lot of these conferences are not focused on what I'm focused on. It's like, is there a value to Hypno Thoughts? Absolutely. Do I have a hard time justifying it from a business perspective? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and I can see that.
Like I said, we just need to get you a show out there. That way you can justify it.
No. Listen, if I can do a show and it's break even in Vegas, I will absolutely do it.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I totally get needing to justify it monetarily. That's why I'm looking at getting a booth this year.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's the thing is that I am not feeling yet ready to do anything that would be selling anything to my fellow hypnotists. And I think when I do, I'm going to piss off an awful lot of the so-called leaders in the industry.
Why do you think you're going to piss them off?
Because I'm going to be saying some things that they don't want to hear. Like on the stage side and on the clinical side, there are a lot of people who are focused more on people giving them money than anything else.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But you like me.
I like you. Okay. I'm actually not going to call you out on any.
Well, there's nothing to call out. So
but the big one is that I feel like on the stage side, those who have been performing hypnosis for decades, what they teach is what it was like back in the 90s or early 2000s.
right, because that's when they started and that's what they know.
That's
the world
right.
has changed.
That's
the world
right.
has drastically changed.
Right. And then there's this one other little aspect that no one bothered to share, and that is, if you're going to grow a business on the entertainment side of hypnosis, you're going to have to drop some freaking cash. That's the reality of it. It is not free. It's like, believe I do all this old-fashioned shoe leather stuff every single day, and I still, and that's strategic too, long term. And I'm still, it's like I'm spending some money to get the shows that I'm getting. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
But that's very, very different from the dream that is being sold.
Well, we're very open book on how we do business, and how you get some of your shows is nothing like how we get some of our shows. Mm-hmm. And we shared with you everything that we do.
Absolutely.
And how much it costs. You know, like, this is what we do and this is how much it costs.
No,
but that's not the end all be all of how to get shows, but that's how we do it. So of course I can't teach you how to get comedy clubs because I don't do that.
Right. And the thing is that the pieces that work for me are not going to work for some other people.
I'm not going to name any names, but I've actually heard a trainer say, oh yeah, you can absolutely get $10,000 stage shows. And that's true. You probably can, but that's not the norm. It's not even close to the norm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and Alan's been doing this much longer. And I don't think we've ever gotten $10,000 for one show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Not for
It's like-
one show. Do we
Yeah.
have $10,000 contracts?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's not one show. That is working our butts off. And
Well,
I know,
but
like, if
I'm
I
just
was,
saying this person didn't represent it that way.
Right.
They definitely represented it as like, well, they're not just like, not every one of them's $10,000, but yeah, you can absolutely get $10,000 shows. And
No,
I'm like,
yeah, and I will you know, I will tell you exactly what my long-term strategy is. I've done this holiday season enough $3,000 and $4,000 weekends to know that that's realistic. I can see how that can be made to happen consistently. So,
Mhm.
step one, start putting together consistent weekends averaging $3,000. Okay. That's step one.
damn good step.
Then,
Yeah.
and it's like, and I'm not talking about doing 50 weekends a year. I'm talking consistently 3 weekends a month. Okay.
right, because nobody's doing a show next weekend. You
No,
know, I mean, maybe a few people, but not in reality. There's
I mean,
you know,
the
1%
offers I got for
might be doing
next
stuff.
weekend, it's like I'm going Ubering. Okay. I'll literally
Sure.
make way more money.
Yeah, you'll make a lot of money doing that for the holidays. Sure. New
Um,
Year's, you could pick up some shows.
Yeah. I'm focusing next year on New Year's where I want a very specific type of show. Just because I don't want it to be a whole bunch of sloppy drunks on an amateur night. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
God.
So,
Oh yes, no, absolutely.
Yeah, so I got it. I
Christmas
got a
party-
specific plan. for
Christmas
next
parties
year.
could be that way too.
But step two is consistently bumping those $3,000 weekends up to $5,000 weekends. And then step three is doing $10,000 weekends. And it's like, I'm not looking to start doing $10,000 shows tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and you're not even talking about doing $10,000 shows. You're talking about doing a $10,000 weekend.
Exactly.
Yeah, I gotta assume that's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing, you know?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah.
3
And
days, sure.
you know, and it's like, and you can do in the right setup, you can do in a club environment, you can do 1 show on Thursday, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
having done 4 in one night, I can do that. So
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do 4 in one night consistently.
no. It's like next time somebody asks me to do 4 in one night, my number is going way north of what it was for that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of took it on because I wanted to see what would happen, which it
Yeah,
was.
you wanted to just get it done and see where it could go. And
Yeah. And it's like I didn't have my voice all the way back until Tuesday. That's important information for me.
yeah,
It's like I couldn't have done 4 shows on Friday night and my 1 show on Saturday night. That would not have flown.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
sound like a lesbian smoker.
Marge's
Yeah.
sister, Patty, Homer.
Yeah.
That's what I sound like after 4 shows in one day too. So I totally get you. That's why Scott and I were talking before about a business plan of doing smoking clients. And he was like, yeah, like 6 a day. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. That's too much. So I know I missed part of the conversation. So are you planning a tell-all book or a
No,
training?
it was
or-
it's more of why it is that that I am not ready to do anything at Hypno Thoughts that would be revenue producing.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you,
And
you didn't submit this year though.
I
So,
did not submit this year.
so does that, it's a moot point.
Yeah.
Shit,
And
I need to send my thing back in. I haven't done that yet. I haven't opened my
Yeah.
computer yet. I haven't opened my computer yet.
Like tomorrow, it's got to be in by the 20th.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'll do it tonight when I get home. I gotta pick Alan up at the airport. His flight was delayed, so
Oh.
I'm sitting in Irvine. I was gonna go Christmas shopping, and it is just a cluster of
Oh, yeah.
insanity.
Of all the other people
And-
who waited until the last minute.
You know, my kids are grown, so they're kind of at the I don't need anything phase. So realistically, I don't need to do much Christmas shopping. I was just gonna do stockings.
Yeah.
But now it looks like
there's
I'm gonna
this new
fly to
website called
Florida.
Amazon.
Say that again,
I
Colin.
know.
There's this new website called Amazon.
Oh.
So no, I mean it looks like I'm gonna be flying to Florida anyways. So
Fun.
yeah.
No, I was just talking about I'm gonna see about getting a table at Hypno Thoughts this year so that I
Right.
can actually maybe make it profitable to be there or at least break even. That's what
Yeah,
Colin was
make it a
talking
break
about,
even.
just not making business sense to go to Vegas whenever he could be doing shows that weekend. I said we
Well,
just need to get him shows in Vegas.
Yeah, or nearby, you know.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
what Rich did last year where he rolled up with a comedy club, you know, after the pool party.
Yeah.
Especially since it doesn't look like they're going to be doing any entertainment, no bowling, no nothing.
I wouldn't say they're going to be doing nothing. I would just say that
Okay.
they're not announcing yet what's going to be doing. And that's not insider information. That's just what Scott said on videos. Like he's talking
Well, I
about
know the pool party.
Ken's sponsoring the pool party, right? And
And
he's talking about
hopefully
having other sponsored events that
or
people can
unofficial
do.
events.
Yeah.
Well, like the 80s party was pretty good. So
Yeah. That was
I guess it's because some people's idea of pajamas is a little more risque than other people's idea of walking around in a casino wearing pajamas.
Some of us
but
don't wear
it's
pajamas.
Vegas, so it's
And
Vegas.
some of
so-
us don't wear pajamas.
Is that what you
Yeah,
came
I
in?
don't own pajamas, so
Is that what you wore, Sean?
well, he went to the 80s party. He wasn't there the
He went
year
to the
before
80s
that,
party.
which was the last pajama party.
Yeah.
But no, there are often people who are very scantily clad. Of course, they're all wearing way
Sure.
more than the waitresses.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most scantily clad hypnotist is still wearing way more clothes than the hypnotist, than the waiters. The waitresses.
waiters. Yeah. Yeah, my opinion on training is that you have a limited amount of time to possibly give everything that you know and hope that the person absorbs it. So we spell out what we're going to provide because we can't possibly tell you everything we know. And like if I was going to go teach someone how to go into clinical business for themselves, the things that I did to be successful in clinical business don't fly anymore. I mean, I had a Yellow Page ad.
I mean,
That
it's almost like going to a class and somebody saying, "Let me see your business cards."
Right. Your business card is shit.
Like, okay, I haven't handed out a business card like in years. So does it really matter? It's like, is anybody
Now,
getting business by handing out business cards?
Yeah.
I was at it. Well, you do it.
You're special, Colin.
No, it's like
I
it's
was at an event today and I didn't have a business card.
Yeah.
But I had a flyer that they could take a picture of that had my phone number on it.
What were you saying, Colin?
no, it's like because I am constantly doing hand-to-hand stuff.
Yeah.
In this community, if you are in any of the going to any of the networking events, I go up, maybe I've got one of my shirts on, maybe I don't. When
Mhm.
I introduce myself, it's like, oh, I've heard about you. You're the hypnosis guy.
Okay.
And it's like, and yeah, passing out those cards has, I've gotten calls.
Yeah.
from
You're
it.
you're in a smaller pond than me though. You're
Right.
making personal connections to people, which I think is very valuable.
Mhm. It's a
Oh,
very,
I think that's very valuable as well.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very, very long-term strategy though.
I mean,
It's,
we're looking now at 10 more years in this business. So that's where our strategy is. Yeah.
What are you looking at as an exit? Are
We
you looking to
are,
move into straight training, or are you going to do something else?
well, Alan's only probably got 10 more years on the road. So yeah, there might just be trainings, and then just limited shows. But we're looking at passive too. He's decided he's gonna be a slave driver on me for the next few months to get my recordings.
For your
So,
recordings of your hypnosis shows?
no, those are up. Those are up.
Okay.
I'm
To get
gonna
audio
create a
recordings
new,
done?
yeah, to get some audio up, like Gumroad and those kind of things. I am gonna start a new library because apparently that's the secret to success on Vimeo, Colin, is to have
What?
multiple libraries.
Okay.
So I have my everything library, and then I have my Glastonbury library, and then I have my high school library. So I'm going to start a fairs and festivals library next.
That's simple enough.
And then I'll do a corporate library next year sometime when I have more corporate, because I don't have too many corporate jobs.
Are you putting stuff on Vimeo yet, Colin, to sell it?
no, not yet.
He's
that-
building up his bank.
Yeah, no, it's, no, it's, that's definitely coming. I don't have enough there to really justify much energy into it.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
One of
Are you already signed up for Vimeo?
I did, and then I let it lapse because I wasn't doing anything with it. I just I couldn't justify what it was doing for me. One of the things that I am doing that is a bit different is I am not treating video of my shows like a bigger top secret than what I had last week at the National Reconnaissance Office.
Right.
A lot of hypnotists, it's like, oh my God, they'll steal all my stuff. It's like, no,
They're going to do it anyways if they're going to do it.
it's
I
like,
mean, really, there's not anything uber
New.
original in the world anyways.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I prefer the term conveniently borrowing.
Sure.
so
Well, even if you think of it, it's probably been thought of.
What was that, Colin?
So there's this one hypnotist out of Scotland, the albino hypnotist,
Uh-huh.
Fraser Penman,
Victor.
who does Savard's EIEIO routine down to the word. He uses every last word track, and then he freely admits he's using Michael C. Anthony's induction in his shows. There is not an original thought in this guy's head. And
No, but if he was smart, he'd be marketing his unique look.
well, he is, but he is one of those who's of the belief that all you have to do to be a success on the entertainment side is get an agent. He got an agent, but he hasn't gotten any work.
And that's he needs some polish for sure. He needs some work.
Yeah.
Because I saw his demo, and his demo looked like it was done in somebody's living room.
I think it was a classroom, actually.
Yeah, close enough. I heard that he actually, and you may have been the one that told me, that he actually got himself booked into a hypnosis conference.
Yep.
And I never saw the video on that. I would like to see the video and see if he actually has some chops or not.
He got booked into that conference to deliver expert training on stage hypnosis. And he did that presentation at a time when he had never even done a single show before.
Wow.
So he regurgitated someone else's training.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that I was a recording stopped.
Do I have to? I will.
Or okay.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
Holy
panel-
mackerel. I cannot believe that just happened. See, that's the stuff that people don't want to miss. If they were
That's
in here,
true.
they would have gotten all that
Yeah,
information.
When the recording
Lisa,
is
you
paused,
are a
that-
genius.
that's when the best stuff
Right.
comes out, man.
And
I mean,
all those secrets you just gave us for being on
Those are
stage
for only for live.
and
for
making
live
that kind of
shows.
money is amazing. You
We can
are
never
the queen.
unknow that now.
That's right. Pulling out my Erickson. That's right. Yeah,
So-
I think that
Sorry,
the
Scott.
panels
I
are
had to share that with everybody else.
no,
that
you're
didn't get
good. You're
involved.
good, man. You're
you're
good.
great.
That'll
Yeah.
teach them to be here for the lives, right?
True. Panels are a great opportunity for people that have, they're just dipping their toes into hypno thoughts.
Yeah.
They're not sure they want to teach something, or, as an Ask Me Anything, where you have a bunch of people that are pros in that area and you can just go in there and just fire away.
Yeah,
So,
I think panels are great, but I've been in rooms where panels were great, and I've been in rooms where panels were really, really kind of blah and not that good. And I don't know. I think there's something to do with the chemistry of the people on the panel. It matters, the
does.
ideology of the people on the panel matters.
It's so much of it comes down to a moderator.
A lot of it
Yeah.
does. It really does.
It's like because the moderator has to have some personality too.
Yeah.
And the moderator has to be advancing the conversation.
Yeah.
I
Not
got to
Yeah.
tell you, the panel changed my life because I got a chance to talk to one of I can't remember her name, but it was a neuroscience. I'm not sure, but it was one of those. And they talked about a gene that kids with autism and stuff can have a problem with. And I said, when we were done, I said, can I take you to dinner? Because we need to talk about this. Because I had autistic kids. Well, we started digging in. And when I was born, I had a cleft palate, and I also had a cleft palate and a hair lip. So I had no lip, literally. And they found that my mother, all she had to do was take some folic acid or folic and B vitamins in order to correct it. Well, here she told me to go get tested. It was $120 test that you send away for, and came back and said that I am extremely deficient on folate acid, FOLATE acid. And it can cause all kinds of problems, neurological and also heart failure. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
yeah. So immediately I started on the supplement, and I feel amazing.
Yeah. My son's on
Yes.
methylfolate as
Yeah,
well.
that's what it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't feel it at first. I was like, this is not a big deal. But after a week, because it's magnesium and about other things in there.
Dude, when they put Melanie on that, she's been going to the doctor for a decade trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with her. It turns out she has that same gene deficiency, and they put her on that medicine. It's like night and day.
It's
now,
amazing.
Now she just feels like a normal 40-year-old, not like a 65-year-old.
Right.
Wow.
So the panel did help me. I mean, that was worth a dinner to pay for her to help me with that.
Oh yeah,
That's
for sure.
amazing.
Definitely.
but yeah, the panels, like some panels are great, some panels aren't. And I think this year they'll be better because they learned lessons from last year. And so
Yeah, I
I'm
think
betting they'll have,
they
I'm
just
hoping
kind of
they'll
let
have
people figure it
something
out
to
on their own. There
give a little
wasn't
bit of training for moderators,
Mhm.
just
yeah, there
even if it's
wasn't any kind of
even if it's just a damn YouTube
direction.
video that says like, how to moderate a panel. I guarantee you that video is out there right now,
Oh, I'm
uh,
sure.
and it'd make a big difference. But I'm curious to see how well the TED Talk style things go. Because I'm not sure about that since they didn't have it on the applications. Like, hey, you can do a 25-minute talk. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Because I know like mine, I didn't even put down for a 1 hour. I only put down for a 2 hour because the talk I submitted, it's like I can't do it in an hour. That's why I submitted for 2 hours. So if they give me a 25-minute TED talk, it's gonna be like, I mean, I'll talk about something, but it ain't gonna be that. That's not gonna work.
You're gonna be
So,
like, here you go.
yeah.
Just keep in mind, they gave Ghislaine Maxwell a TED Talk.
Why'd you have to bring that up? Why'd you have to bring that up?
Well, here's why I bring that up.
Yeah.
Is that
They'll
all
give one to anybody.
of these people who aspire to TED Talks or they get a TED Talk and they think that that makes them the king shit.
Yeah.
They
No,
gave
I'm
Ghislaine Maxwell.
like, they're not legit TED Talks. They're just that kind of style. Because TED Talks are actually limited to 15 minutes, but these are going to be 25. But they're just that style, and I like digesting information in small chunks like that.
Yeah.
So does everybody today.
Yeah, we're all very much a now society. Like give it to me now. Tell me what I can do now.
Well, I mean, we've all been in that room, okay, where you sit down and you're like, oh, this looks really interesting. And then 15 minutes in, you're like, oh, yeah, no, this guy can write a really good headline. But that is clearly where their talent ends, and you wish you could get out.
Sounds like the one that we went to, Bob, last year.
Years
they-
ago,
Oh, I
there was-
remember that, Sean.
years ago there was a talk and I was in the front row and the room was packed and it was like, could this hour just be over? Because it was awful.
Yeah.
Here was the
Did
one
I-
Sean and I went to.
And I hope people don't feel like that in my talks.
So here's the talk that Sean and I went to. So everyone, I am here today to present to you hypnosis. And it is all about conversation while I do the training.
Like for real?
Sean, am I telling the truth?
Wow.
You are allowed to get up and leave.
That was not exaggerated at all.
So
That's rough.
I am not
I mean-
going to ask you to stop the recording on this one. I'm just going to roll it out there.
Uh-oh.
Whoops.
Going to be invited back as a presenter after his Snoop Dogg approach to his presentation last year.
Who?
Chris Jones. This is
Oh,
the
uh-huh.
who fucked Howie Mandel
Yeah.
brutally. And his thing has become, when he does his shows an hour and a half before, take a 50 milligram gummy.
Oh, geez.
Okay. And apparently he was stoned as fuck during his presentation.
It's legal.
No, it's legal, but the presentation didn't go so well.
He did a
That's
presentation at Hypno Thoughts?
He
Mhm.
did.
Okay.
Yep.
I missed it.
I wanted to go to it, but my friends who were going to go with, they were like, no, we are not. We do not. We will not. So we didn't.
Now, and my big heartburn with being stoned when you're doing a show is your biggest responsibility is the safety of your volunteer audience and yourself. And there's nobody I know, and I know a lot of people who enjoy the plant in one form or another. There's nobody I know whose reaction time gets better after a 50-minute.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not giving a presentation stoned.
Yeah, and it's
Well,
like, yeah.
If
Or
your- if
drunk
your
or
modus
in any alter state besides
if your modus
drinks.
operandi is to get high before a show and you pitch yourself as a high school aged performer, as a mom, this is something that I would be opposed to having my performer show up to.
Man, I don't even know how you could even think that was a good idea. You know,
He's convinced it makes him funnier.
I think if you're a Post Malone, that's fine, but
I've only
it
seen
might
one
make
show
him
of
funnier.
his, and he was sitting on the edge of the stage while he was just like basically sitting there and kind of doing the thing. And I was like, well, the kids seem to really enjoy it, and it does make them the star, but I'm with you in that it doesn't make you able to put the safety of your volunteers as paramount.
Right. And
Yeah.
in my world, there are opportunities that come along in these shows that you cannot anticipate and you've got to be able to react to.
Oh yeah.
And all those synapses need to be firing off at full speed.
Now getting your volunteers high on some hypno weed, I'm all for that. That's
Okay.
funny.
I'm
Oh
actually
yeah, that's funny as heck.
I'm actually cool.
I don't do it at high schools though, because those are safe and sober parties.
Right. I'm actually cool with having stoned volunteers when they come in the door. Okay. There is a point of diminishing returns. It's
Mhm.
of an extreme, like on drinking, the cliff goes like that. Okay.
Yeah.
With weed, it's kind of a little bit more flat when there's the diminishing returns. But no, it's like I love stone volunteers.
I haven't
You're looking
intentionally had any.
spiffy tonight, David. You heading to a show or something else?
Yeah, I'm just hopping on for a few minutes. I'm in a motel room in beautiful Lakewood, New Jersey. Actually, it's not even like.
Your audio's a little rough.
Yeah,
He's in a hotel.
I'm not using my normal mic.
Oh, that's awful. We can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear
You
you.
look fabulous.
getting closer to me now. He's coming to Jersey.
Alan's got a show in Pennsylvania for New Year's.
Where at?
College.
What college?
One in
Ask me these
Pennsylvania.
questions.
Lisa,
One
you
in
should know
Pennsylvania.
all this stuff.
Nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing Pennsylvania in winter.
It's
Let's
cold
see-
here.
Let's see if it's in the calendar. It's a first night thing.
How cold is it, Bob?
Currently 30 degrees.
Oh,
It's
don't-
cold in Georgia. It's 33 degrees here right now.
Like we all know we can't compete with you, Sean.
Yeah, I know.
This says state college. Does that make any sense?
State college, yeah. That's 2 hours from here.
How
We'll have the
negative
first
are
night.
you up there, Sean? You down to negative 40 yet?
Hang on, I'll tell you right away. The actual temperature is minus 25 Celsius,
That's pretty cold.
which is minus 14.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's a whole lot of no.
With the wind chill, it's about minus 36.
Nope.
Ooh,
That's awesome. Nope.
Yeah.
Wow.
My wind chill
Yeah,
was
that's a bit-
36 today, and I was nope.
Yeah, same.
About 36 here. Is this any better?
Oh, that's fantastic.
Much better audio.
Yeah, oddly.
I'm in,
It's the
I'm in
microphones through the,
Newport. Well, I'm in
through my
Irvine right
headset.
now, but my gig was in Newport Beach today, and it was like 67, 70 degrees, somewhere in there.
Was that to row or hypnosis?
I did Tarot, and it was outdoors. So thank God the weather was lovely.
Yep. Here, 67 might be lovely and it might be terrible. Just depends on the sunshine and the wind.
Yes.
'Cause
Yeah,
sometimes
yesterday was
it's
pretty
67 and the
cold.
wind's blowing 40 miles an hour. It's cold.
San Francisco's the same way. It's like, oh, it's 67. I'm like, where's my parka? It's freezing here.
Yeah, my favorite quote of Mark Twain
I'm
is
with you there.
the coldest winter I ever spent was the summer I spent in San Francisco.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, when we were up there, we had the heater on, and I have a electric like bed warmer instead of a blanket. I had a bed warmer. I was like, yep, turning that on.
So what's your show, David?
It's I'm not. I'm gonna see when I get there because it's
Brave.
I bring everything with me because I never know what's gonna be in one of these shows. It's in the religious community, Jewish community. I'm booked like the rest of the week for Hanukkah shows.
Yeah, I figured.
And I'm one of the few performers that actually goes into this community because they can be very tough, very tough.
You
Very
need to
tough.
know, you need to know things. We do some, and we need to know if they're Orthodox or not. So we need to know if we need to split the volunteers.
Right, yeah. And it's sometimes it's all kids that they want you to perform for. Sometimes it's the adults, that they really, they don't, want you to work with the kids. They want to work with the adults. So until I get there, I really am not sure exactly what kind of show I'm going to do.
But it's hypnosis, or it might be
No,
magic.
well, I mean, I might do some hypnosis. I might do a short hypnosis, segment, but it's not. It's mainly magic and mind reading.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have more Hanukkah shows than I had Christmas shows.
Well, as
Yeah,
they
for
say,
sure.
break a leg.
Yeah.
For sure.
What about you, Colin? You got anything else coming up between now and the end of the year?
Last night was my last show for the year.
I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm done.
Not gonna do a New Year's Eve?
No, I couldn't put together the kind of show that I want to put together.
Well, the show that Alan's doing is a safe and sober party. So it's a they call it a first night. So, and he's done it before. He's like, so I have a New Year's Tarot gig. So that'll be my last thing.
How about Joe, you got any new clients?
No, I did have my aunt that I was working with. What was it? Actually, Friday night, and I ran across something really weird. I went to that Doctor Unconscious doing some parts negotiation there, and was trying to give the part that runs the smoking habit a new job, and started running into some resistance. And finally, she goes, "I can't do this. I can't do this." I mean, she's still in trance. Going, I just can't do this. Okay, it's all right. In a minute, I'm going to count you back up out of there, and then we'll talk about it a little bit later, and we'll work on it again in the future. Okay, so I just gave her a suggestion that the next trance, when she says I'm ready, and I go, well, let's drop into trance. She's just going to just drop straight into it. Anyway, brought her back out. That part that's running that habit did not seem to want to find a newer and better job, and I'm not sure what's going on with that right now.
I think
So I get
Stephanie's
back with
really good with that part there. She
Oh.
may be able to jump in.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Well, did you ask the part what it wanted?
Actually, I didn't get that far. She just wanted to come out. So rather than
Oh.
just keep pressing it, I said, okay, we're just gonna come on out and work on that a little bit later. I want you to keep that part, to keep working on this in the meantime. Counted her out, gave her a suggestion to
Mhm.
go in easier and deeper next time. And then just brought her back out instead of just pressing, because we'd already been at a fairly long session anyway for her first time down.
Mm. What did she say when she came out? Like,
She was going, wow, that was says, I don't know what's going on there. And I said, well, I'm not sure either. We're gonna find out later.
okay.
And then she's going, I'm going, that's the first time I've ever met any kind of resistance like that, which was true. I'm like, in my head, I'm going, what the hell just happened here?
Yeah.
I didn't say
Yeah,
that to her,
They'll fight you.
but I was going, but I was, wow. Like I said, I didn't say that to her. I'm just thinking in my head, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah. So definitely, find out what purpose it's serving. And
Right. That'd be
right.
the next step. Once you go
Yeah.
down, find out, okay, so what purpose are you currently serving, maybe?
Mhm.
And then what is there some benefit that you're getting out of
Right.
this, maybe?
Yeah,
type thing.
because sometimes you can negotiate for a different way to get that benefit. Like she could still get the benefit, but just a different way,
Right.
whatever that
Well,
benefit is.
that's what I was trying to suggest, is that part find a new or a better way from,
Mhm.
as a creative part of the mind, to find at least 50, 100 different ways to achieve this that are better and that don't involve smoking, doesn't involve any chemicals, or eating more.
Mhm.
So,
Well, yeah, and sometimes it's easier though for them to take the direct suggestions once you acknowledge that with the subconscious or with the part that, okay, I'm listening to you, there is something going on. It's probably trying to protect her in some way if it's that strong. It's not just a habit in this case. It's doing that for a reason, right?
Right.
And it doesn't even want her to be hypnotized out of it for a
Right.
reason. And she doesn't have to be in deep trance to talk to the part.
Right.
You can keep her in the waking hypnosis state for that.
I was doing parts therapy the other day with a weight loss, weight control client, and the part that wanted her to keep, her weight was also resistant. I actually brought in a third part, and that part negotiated with the other two. And she ended up having a great response. She gave me a great review on Google.
Great.
So that's another avenue. Maybe there's another part that is in there that can negotiate.
Mhm.
That's brilliant.
What are your thoughts on that, Colin?
I think that the biggest thing I would offer is that as hypnotists, on whether it doesn't matter if it's clinical or stage, we have to, Glenn Ross style, always be selling and always be closing. We are selling to people's subconscious minds. And the most effective way to sell is to be broadcasting on the radio station WIIFM. And that's what's in it for me. And the only way we do that is if we know what it is that they want. And we can't do that until we shut up and ask the right questions. So much of this gig is asking questions. So then you can actually give them what it is that they really want and they really need, and that their subconscious will buy. I know so many hypnotists who can't get their mind wrapped around the habit of smoking. Why would somebody do that? Why don't they just stop? Don't they know that it'll kill them? Yeah, that's already baked in. There are, and it's like we got to understand where they're coming from. And so and I'm a huge fan of parts therapy too, but I absolutely love what you said about bringing a third part and having everybody work things out inside like that. That's super cool. That's a badass move. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think when I was working with a guy a week ago.
I gotta go be amazing.
All right, go be amazing.
All right,
Be
break a
amazing.
leg.
Hey, thanks.
The guy started out where he was crying because his friend died. And then I asked him if he had unfinished business because he didn't get a chance to see him. And he said, yeah. And I went through this last week as well, but they brought it up again. And then I decided that it really wasn't the death of his friend. It was more about him and his mortality. So we started to go into that. And there was a lot of resistance. And he kept saying pretty much what you said your aunt?
Yeah.
Joe? Yeah, he was doing the same thing. He was like, I said, well, let's follow the feeling. Let's go back and find out where it comes from. And he says, well, I don't see it. And I said, that's okay. I've done this 1,000 times and it's just a matter of time before it comes. And I'm not saying that other than to give him, what I'm trying to do is give him his unconscious mind, knowing that I'm confident enough that we're going to get there. It's not an option. And then basically you start working your way around it until you try and find different paths to get to it. Eventually you'll get there. It may not, it's about timing. We know that. It's all about timing. But you
And
can still, I'm sorry,
sometimes that direct approach is necessary.
it is.
And people
Yeah.
respond better.
Or
to that.
even indirect, like
Yeah.
setting up remember I talk about minefields and tripwires. You start just talking a little bit about things and then all of a sudden it triggers something. Sorry. It triggers something and then you can get in there. Then you've got an opening. Because with my stuff, it's always trance without hypnosis, meaning their eyes are open and they're aware of what's going on, but they're going in and out while I'm talking to them. And when I get that in, that's my in. Boom, then I start working. Then when they come back out, I'm like, all right, no problem. Just your unconscious, your conscious mind is taking over for a while. We'll get them working together.
Right. Well, the whole session had started out, I brought her down and then I took her into a timeline, went back to just how to get a pleasant memory to start with, and then took her up to where she had her first cigarette. And how to bring that pleasant memory and feeling back with her for later. First cigarette reminded her of how horrible that was. And then we come back up to the present. We started going to the future. And at about 30 days, there was a fork going off to the left. And that was that bad word. She made that choice to continue smoking and how horrible that road was and dark, gloomy. I made that as horrible as I could possibly make it. Her kids were like sad because she was really hurting them. And I'd already established who they were. So now she's looking at that. I finally bring her back. I take future pacer out at a year, looking back how she was still a non-smoker now, looking back how easy that was. Took her out for 5 years. Same thing, how easy that was. She's a non-smoker, isn't that great? She asked, so many people have asked her for cigarettes. She's turned them down, blah, blah, blah. And that's when I went back and then started to that Dr. Unconscious Mind where her head's up, but her body's in trance. And started the price negotiation. That's when I hit that resistance. So I've been there for a little while.
Interesting that you future paced her before.
I was waiting
talking
for that.
Part. Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually rushing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to stay. We're time machines, remember. So when we're moving with time, we got to be careful. We're not moving too far back. If I'm sorry if I'm stepping on your toes, Stephanie.
No. Well, yeah.
But she's right. You don't want to future pace until your very last time that you're done, or you think you're going to clean it.
Yeah,
because
that's her very last step.
That'd be my last step. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, because
I didn't realize that'd be my last step.
Well, there's no rules. Okay, like we can say that,
Yeah.
and this is all Is it
No.
all, is any of this real? You know, I mean,
Let me.
It can
Yeah.
be like a
Yeah, you
Quentin
guys got
Tarantino
way more
movie
experience
if
than
it
I do.
needed to
I'm
be.
gonna listen. Way more experience. I'm gonna listen.
so,
That works better usually.
so you really, you want to understand, remember when we say the map is not the territory or the map is
Right.
not the experience? Everyone has a different territory. So everyone operates differently. So in my world, I want to know how that mind works. So
Mhm.
because I used to fix things, I used to fix furnaces. When I go down to a furnace, I want to know how it works first before I can fix it. And I don't like saying fix with humans, but I'll say for a
Right.
furnace, it worked. So when I'm talking to you and we're working through, I want to know how you work, how your unconscious mind works through things. So when I say flour, you see cooking, baking, mom. When I see flour, I see a flower pot behind you on a table. Do you see where I'm going?
Mhm.
So you need to understand how they're deciphering and how they're translating in their own mind what flower means.
Right.
Still
What
in
you're
that
saying.
example, Bob.
I'm sorry?
I'm still in that example, Bob.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good at painting pictures in people's minds. There's a reason for that because we think in pictures, Joe.
Right.
Right. So I'm working with somebody right now, a hypnotist that's in Philly. And he was saying that he wanted something better. He wants what I do versus what he's doing. And I said, well, think of it. And I painted pictures for him and then showed him
Right.
a comparison. So when you're working with that person, in the beginning, it's when we're doing things, and I did the same thing, and all of us did it. We jump around a lot. We tend to get nervous and we start jumping because we get a little clues and then we take them and we run with them and we're all over the place. So we have to be
Right.
careful. We have to start going in a path. And if we look like we're disorganized, so will the unconscious and so will they. You know, you said in your own mind, oh God, why am I getting this resistance? You almost have to speak out loud and say, that's okay. I've done this 1,000 times and it's no big deal. And we're going to get through this. I see that there's a barrier there, but it's okay. Because that's what I did with this guy. I spoke out loud. He goes, oh man, we're just not, I feel like we're not getting anywhere. He said, I just laughed. I said, oh, no. We're going to get there. Trust me. I've been there.
Right.
And I said, and we're going to get there, just not yet.
Right.
That's the key. Yet. And they hear that. The unconscious mind goes, oh shit. All right. Well, sooner or later, I'm going to have to give in. It's just a
Right.
matter of how long.
This clown ain't quitting.
What, Joe, what part did you call upon?
The part that runs the smoking habit.
Okay. And that's what you
Yeah,
called it, the part that runs the
right.
smoking habit? Okay.
Because I pre-framed heavily that smoking is just a habit, not an addiction.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know,
Yeah, correct.
following Jack, I don't know if you're familiar with Jacqueline's spiel. I copied a lot of that. But anyway.
Stephanie, how would you have done it different with him? With his aunt?
Well, if I was to use parts, first of all, I would have first I would have talked to the part first. And well, okay. First of all, I don't think I would have regressed them into a childhood scene or just, you know, I think I wouldn't do regression at least not at this point. If the subconscious regresses us spontaneously, I'll go there with them, but I'm not going to take them there first. I think I would just start right off the bat working with the part and talking to the part, let the part know, hey, you're a very important part of this client. What you have to say matters, and we're listening to you.
So are you doing this? You're doing an instant induction?
You could
And
do an
you're-
instant. It doesn't matter what type of induction you do, whatever type of induction you want to do. And then I typically bring them to a happy, safe place or a private paradise, that type
Sort
of
of
thing, resource
Carl's.
state.
Yeah.
And then I'll take them to a different scene because I want it to be separate from the resource state. So in case I need to bring them back to the resource state because maybe they get upset, I'll bring them back. I won't wake them out of trance. I'll bring them back to the resource state and then and then take them somewhere else. So, so I take them to like a different scenery. Okay. And usually when I work with parts, parts like to hide. So I will give the imagery of, I'll take them into a forest and I'll have them walk through the forest, and I'll have them say that somewhere in this forest you have built, or let's pretend or imagine that you have built your, what do I call it? You have built like a fort, or you've built a secret hiding place, right? Or you found one, maybe you discovered one, because they could either build it, because some people will build it in their mind's eye, or some people say that it's an entrance to a cave or something like that, right? It'll be a natural structure or it'll be a man-made structure. But I'll have them find it in their mind's eye. When you find this place, let me know that you're there. Okay, now describe it to me. So then now I know where they are. I'm in a tree house. I'm in a, I'm in a cave. I'm in a whatever, right? And then I say, okay, well, the reason I brought you here is because, you know, the personality parts like to hide. And so we're going to keep them feeling safe and secure. And I just want you to know that we're not here to judge them, whatever parts we call upon. We're not here to judge you, right? We're just here to get some information. You want to get the part feeling safe to come up and speak to you and not stay hidden.
Right.
Right. And so then I'll have them bring their part. So now we're going to invite that part of you that is, causing you to smoke or whatever. We're going to motivating you to smoke. Let's call that part, let's call that part in. Then we'll ask it what it wants and needs. Right. And then the first question that I usually, so then they'll describe to me. Sometimes the part will come up as a person. It may look like themselves. It could just come up as a feeling or a color or a, sound. I mean, it'll come up in however the client brings it up in their mind's eye. And so like, there's no wrong way for a part to appear. And sometimes I'll say like, you might not even see it. It might just be a feeling or a knowing that that part of you is there. And you let me know when that part shows up. And then I just wait until they say it's here. Okay, fantastic, right? Sometimes I'll have them name the part just so I don't have to keep calling it the part that does this, So sometimes we'll give it a name. But again, I have the client come up with a name. I don't assign it a name. And then we'll have that conversation with the part, right? What do you want? What do you want or need, right? And I kind of leave it open-ended and I don't get very specific. I kind of leave it broad in the beginning because I want to see what the subconscious says. And then I'll ask more detailed or nuanced questions. But first, it's just, what do you want or need? And when you keep drilling down, well, at first they'll be like, well, I want the person to relax. Okay, so we're not going to take away person's relaxation ritual. What do you really want or need? Even deeper, right? Whatever answer that is, right? We don't judge whatever answer comes up. We thank it, send it gratitude. I mean, this is the way I do it, right? Thank it, send it gratitude. Even deeper, what do you really want or need? And when we keep drilling down, it always goes to something about, I don't feel love, I want love, or I want affection, or I want attention. It's not even usually like, oh, I just have a craving. It's usually like, well, what are you actually craving? What are you really craving? It's not usually the cigarette. It's usually something deeper than that they're craving, but they're pushing it back with the smoking. So we'll find out what they really want or need. And then we'll work on at that level. We may have to do some emotional clearing. We may just have to, it could be something simple that we have to change, or it could be something more deeply emotional, and do the emotional clearing work from there. But typically though, with most smokers, it's really simply just a habit, right? But there will be the few that they're really clutching on to the cigarette as something. identity is a big thing too. Right? It's like people who never really had a voice, their parents were too authoritarian, so it's sort of a rebellious act, right? And they created this rebellious image, and this is how they keep hold of their autonomy. So, so I work with identity a lot with those people who are resistive, right?
So do you go into reintegration at that point? Or would you
I do it at the end
do
of,
it at the end? So it's
of
like
the
your
session,
future
because sometimes
patient.
I may need to call another part out,
Okay.
like what's his name was just saying, but you can call as many parts as you need, but I try not to make a part party, because then when you get too many voices, it gets too confusing. So you want to be careful with how many parts you call out. But you can have, you can, if there's a spiritual person, you can have the higher self just come and resolve everything, like actually pretty quickly, if they have that spiritual belief.
Yeah, she does.
She
I was
does.
getting ready to use that at a little further into the session. So I asked, what specifically is your belief? Because when I do that, I want to use their belief system.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the terms that they're familiar with, because my belief system is, doesn't do a damn thing for them.
Yeah. Right. You always have to work within their belief system. Absolutely.
So that I pinned that specifically down before I actually started.
Yeah.
But I never did make it that far.
Yeah. So then I guess I would just negotiate with the part, and then until we all come up with a happy agreement. Now, when the part agrees to something, you have to hold them to it. It's like, well, I know what a person of integrity you are. I know that your word is your bond. Right. So now we've got to really hit that in. Right.
That's selling.
Yeah. So then they're like, yeah, I am a person of integrity. I am a person who keeps my word. Right. So you got to convince the subconscious that hey, all right, you just made a deal. We just made like a gentleman's promise, but we don't go back on our word. Right. Now be careful the way you say that. You don't want to sound like you're talking down to them, but that's the gist that you want to get across. Right. Wonderful. I know how.
Talking down to her would be a big mistake for sure. I mean,
you don't want to do that.
She's a guard at one of the prisons there around Florence.
That would be a huge mistake.
So
you can use that. She's a guard at a prison, so she has got some
metaphors.
Yeah.
I would be jumping all over that. As soon as he said that, I'm like, I would use my whole story with the guy sitting in the chair for 20 years and then finally getting up to the where the bars are to open it up. And they open it up and there's an old guard there sitting there. Finally says, I was waiting for you. That is
that's my ghost turning on and off my lamp there. But yeah, you could do that. And also, they're all about rule and law.
Oh, that's cool. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, she's real big on that. I know that.
Wednesday Adam vibes right there.
Yeah, isn't that weird? That's great. Look at that.
I would also absolutely be willing to bet that if this is someone who is a corrections officer, this is somebody who's been through some trauma, and corrections departments suck at helping their people work through their trauma.
Right. Well, fortunately, I did get her to commit to taking at least 4 sessions, probably more. So we'll be visiting at this a little bit later. And being as she's my aunt, I wouldn't charge her. I got her to commit to 2 months worth of smoking to whatever charity that she felt she wanted to do, however she wanted to do that. I don't really care. So
what was that calling?
How much does she smoke?
Pack a day.
A pack a day. And how much?
Spending just under $3,000 a month right now.
Oof.
Or no, that's a year. Excuse me. $2,000 a month.
I'm going, good God, what kind of cigarettes? She must live in Australia.
They're homemade cigarettes.
is $10 a pack there?
Um,
Or how much a pack?
Oh, it's $8, $8 a pack.
$8
And
a
I did
pack.
that 30 times. That's 240, and then it's just shy of 3,000 a year.
All right. So
So that's like 480 to whatever, however she likes to help give to her church or help people out, whoever. It doesn't matter who, just whoever.
Yeah.
And she said,
Um,
okay, I can do that.
is she doing that up front or at the end?
That I didn't ask her. I just like, you committing to do this.
yeah, what's her
That's all I
buy-in?
do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
I see
she
where
said, yes,
Colin is
I
going
will
with
do
this.
that.
I mean, if you're gonna do it on that basis, rather than you getting paid for what you deserve, first off, 480 for 4 sessions is,
Terrible.
Yeah,
But
however,
but
they gotta pony up front. They gotta have the skin in the game.
mm,
it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
I understand doing
Oh, okay.
some pro bono stuff
Yeah.
to get your feet wet so that you're getting some
well,
experience.
there's that, and plus,
Yeah.
like I said, it's my family, and it's like aunt and uncle. Not,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's hard to work with family too, because they
Yeah.
don't
In that
really
regard.
see you as the authority.
Right, or novelty.
Mm-hmm.
but well, she did when she came out. She definitely was under no doubt that she had a hypnotic experience. It was her first experience, but she
I
was
don't
always,
think that's the question when it comes to working with family.
yeah.
There are a million landmines.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And you know, it's just, you know, I get it. You want to get the experience in. That makes, you know, all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah. And you can have success with family. It's not that you can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
It's just
Yeah.
that
Just harder.
Well,
it's
my
not a
uncle,
representation of reality, in my opinion.
I'd worked with him a day before.
Yeah.
And he's like hiring a kite. He said, well, can you do it? I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. Cause I was just curious. I never even tried to hypnotize anybody that was toasted 3 sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just give it a shot with him. But
What flavor of toasted 3 sheets to the wind? Drunk, marijuana.
both.
Yeah, I
Opioids.
wouldn't do that.
He don't half step. He
So-
didn't go under. I mean, it took me about 10 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe 10, 15 minutes to get down.
Um,
I don't think I accomplished much.
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is it on clinical stuff, you don't want any, definitely no alcohol or hard drugs
Mm.
on.
Mm.
Have I worked with people successfully who are in a fairly constant state of having a lot of THC on board? Absolutely.
That would be him.
But it's like when you add the alcohol to it,
Oh yeah.
that just fucked everything up.
Oh well, no doubt. I was just curious if I even do it. I wasn't expecting much out of
Yeah,
it. But
you can hypnotize them, but it's not very.
Hypnotize them,
Yeah.
but
There's street hypnosis on people who are drunk, but I can't really do deep clinical work on them.
right.
yeah,
I wasn't
no,
expecting a ton of result out of that one. He
Yeah.
just on the spur of the moment said, well, why don't you try that now? Well, rather than telling him no, that's okay, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'd never tried it before. So
Yeah.
it was
That's
just
how you
interest-
learn. That's how you learn, though. I mean, you know, you got to work with everything.
Yeah.
And
but,
no, and on for stage shows, I love working with stoners.
mm,
Working with people who are drunk in a stage show is a necessary evil. And there are times, there are 3 times, as a matter of fact, where I could tell that this person was an angry drunk, and I had to get them the hell off the stage.
mm,
Because
right.
it's about to choose violence. And, you know, and it's like, and there is and you said 3 sheets to the wind with cannabis and hypnosis. You've got, as I mentioned earlier,
Right.
a relatively flat curve of where it hits diminishing returns. With alcohol, it
Just
is
drops out precipitously.
off the map.
It's about 3 drinks. If they've had 3, they're probably just leave them alone.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one I was just
If
he
they've
he'd
had 1 or
asked, and
2
I was
shots.
just curious. I wasn't actually that worried about where that one was going.
Yeah.
Remember,
no,
I wanted
right,
to catch him
fun.
sober. I told him I want to catch you sober, but
just
Sure, we'll
remember,
try it.
Joe, you're a scientist right now and your lab is your public. So whatever you do, just go around and do whatever you can to practice,
Yeah.
you know, and shit. I mean, in 10 years I've been doing it. I've failed 10,000 times, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Terribly.
When I was practicing, it was before online stuff, and I was just doing whatever I wanted to do, and I didn't have anyone's opinions about what I
Yeah.
should do and what I
Like-
shouldn't do.
right.
I totally agree with you, Bob, but it's not failure, it's feedback.
Well,
You know.
yes,
Yeah.
but you can call it yes. Yeah, I definitely flip that word, but yes.
Yeah.
'Cause
And I
John-
learned that, I was doing stuff that
Good call,
people
though. Thank you.
were saying that you couldn't do. Like when I did get online and I got Hypno Thoughts was the first
Funny how that
forum.
works.
It's the first hypnosis forum that I got on before they became big and everything, when they were still just a little chat room.
Yeah.
And they were saying, you can't do this and you can't do that to other people. And I would be like, I did it. What do you mean you can't do that? You
Like
know?
you can't do it ethically, or you can't do it.
Just you
like,
can't do
it's not
it. You can't do a
possible.
certain thing a certain way or whatever. There was a lot of that. There was a lot of you can't do it this way, you can't do it that way. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't know that, because I totally did it.
Yeah, I always say those who say it can't be done should get out of the way of those who are doing it.
Right.
That's not my quote, obviously, but I like
It
it.
really
it's easier
Oh,
for a
go ahead.
novice to innovate because they don't know any better.
No
And
boundaries.
I tell you, Dimple, coming to Zoom meetings in your private jet is a baller move. Like you do. I hope you're doing that in your interviews. I really do. Like you're doing Zoom interviews, get in that jet. Yeah.
Joe, if you really get good at questions, that is really a good start. Get really good at questions.
That's something I probably definitely need to work on for sure.
Yeah, because it's especially when I'm the last guy I was just working with, he was in therapy for 3 years. He said he never had those kind of questions. He was shocked.
Yeah.
He's like, I've never had these kind of questions, because their standard paperwork says we got to label them. So we have to ask these questions. How are you feeling today? How does that make you feel? And what would you like to do? But when you get really good at asking questions, then you can start really doing some really deep and good therapy. Would everybody agree on that? Or
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
When you
It's
say
like-
good
it's all
questions, what do
about-
you mean? Can you expand on that? Are you talking about
Well-
clean language? Or are you talking about empowering questions?
okay, so yes and yes and yes.
And the
So-
first thing about questions is the human mind has to answer a question. Like if it doesn't like an unanswered question, so if it can answer it, it's going to find an answer.
So
Go on,
James, what gets you up in the morning?
Usually my alarm. Or
Your
do you
alarm.
I was
mean
gonna
the-
say that.
What really excites you? What gets you up in the morning that really makes you feel like I got to do this?
I really like learning.
You like
And my
learning.
job is building learning programs for my clients. So that's actually fun.
Yeah. And what else excites you?
No, science fiction books.
Science fiction books. Yeah. I love
I
those
don't know
things.
if anything's really exciting right now.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it about science fiction books that excites
Now-
you?
Now, did you see Joe, how he's moving?
You're right.
So we're already getting him
He went
moving.
from this to
Yep.
This.
Yeah.
Leaning in.
And it was, the question really wasn't as powerful as the pause.
Right.
I was giving him time, and that's where people get it. That's where the unconscious mind starts. to
Were my
respond.
eyes going around? Because I was like, well, thinking,
your
that's
body
obviously
was
the power of it.
Yeah, your body was reacting more
Yeah.
than your eyes.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like a smile that I wasn't feeling earlier. So
Yeah.
Can I point out something that Bob is doing with these questions?
Yes.
All of the questions he has asked start off with the word what. And frame and wording questions that way makes the questions very impactful, really gets people thinking, and tends to get deeper answers rather than clipped yes, no.
right.
Or
Yeah, and if you can just phrase any question in a way where you're not going to get a yes or no response, that's
Right.
even better.
Well, and I would imagine avoiding why would probably also be, it's better probably to ask what and how, like how might you
don't
X,
want
Y,
to
Z.
use why, because that will piss people off.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
it takes you on a rabbit hole too.
Yeah.
That you can't get yourself out sometimes. Because like, why do you do that? Well, I do it because I do.
It puts them on
They
the
don't know
defensive,
why,
right?
and that's why they're seeing you.
Right.
I really am curious, James. What is it about science fiction books that excites you?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been reading science fiction since I was like 10, and I just really like the world building, the setting, the characters, the stories, the excitement of it all. And I like reading classic science fiction and then seeing, now say a book that's 50 years old, seeing how prescient they were, how close they got it, what they got right, what they got wrong. For example, anybody familiar with Fahrenheit 451?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So he had like little earbuds that were in their things, and the people were constantly watching these big media screens that covered their entire wall. So he literally predicted what's been happening the last, 10, 20 years. I don't even remember when he wrote that book, but it's so long ago. But I like that kind of stuff. And then sometimes when you read Heinlein, you'll find things like references to hypnosis. I don't know if anybody's noticed that in his writing.
Can't remember.
So yeah, I mean, I like a lot of things about it. So yeah, I can see.
I love his books.
Oh yeah, but a
Doc
lot of his
Smith one
characters
was
like
great, too.
there's like things that his characters are doing for like rapid learning and stuff that involves hypnosis or mind, manipulation. But yeah, I don't know. I like all kinds of things about it.
So is it rapid learning with the science fiction is what you like about it?
No, I just been a huge fan since I saw Star Wars when I was let's see, when that come, I was 6 when I saw that in the theaters. So ever since then, I've just been very, very interested in science fiction.
So you went from 6 and worked your way up to 10 to be a Jedi?
Yes. I think that's why I'm a hypnotist now. It's just, these are not the droids we are looking for.
So did you see, Joe, I put him in character?
Yeah.
You see how he lit up?
Yeah.
Just to make him feel good.
Well, yeah. And then the thing that's engaging is even though I know what you're doing, it's still fun to talk about things that you're interested in.
Yeah. And you're not really thinking, but you're just saying from a feeling, and you're just expressing yourself on how you enjoy what you enjoy.
Right.
But at the same time, we can actually amplify it at the same time by putting you into character because it's a picture. Did I give you a picture as soon as I said that?
I mean, yeah, the Star Wars has a lot of positive emotions. Like I saw it in a movie theater in California, and the line was literally 3 times around the block. And it was California. They had some sort of like special thing where an actor came out on stage dressed in a costume, and it was a huge event, especially when you're 6. So.
Yeah, definitely. Did you ever dress up like one of them?
Oh yeah, I was a Jawa that year.
Oh, that's cool.
My mom used to make all our costumes, so we made Jawa. She made a Jawa robe. My dad made bandoliers. We painted, little wooden dowels as bullets, painted them gold. And he made a black mask with glitter around the eyes. So yeah, it was the whole thing.
Now, did they actually make them by hand, or was
Yeah.
that okay?
It was from scratch. Yeah.
So
you couldn't buy
you're
a Star Wars costume that year,
oh, that's cool.
It was
or at least I
Wow.
don't think you could.
You probably somewhere you could, but
Probably somewhere.
Yeah.
You couldn't buy one like this. This was like, hand sewn. My mom and dad were very crafty. So yeah, I can see the power questions. Now I was just curious where you were going to go, but
See that? So, and you're at this point, I could have threw some things in there, some embedded commands, by saying, isn't courage what you're looking for? And when courage is something that you have as being a Jedi, and I'm sure your mom and dad really took joy in that, and that was a family event. And that family event is what creates that wholeness. And that's what you're really were trying to achieve throughout those days of being between 6 and 10. Boom, that's it.
Yeah.
Putting the pieces together, what you gave me, I wasn't even really coming up with anything new. How aware were you while you were talking to us, though, of us for a moment?
I was very aware, but at the same time, it was effective, right?
Yeah.
So, because I it's one of those things where I could have resisted it, but I didn't want to. It was an easy question to answer, and it was
Hear
fun
that,
to
Joe?
talk about.
He
Right.
could have, but he didn't want to. That's
Yeah.
the way to go.
Yeah, because sometimes salespeople try to ask you questions to try to drive you down a certain path, and if it's something I'm not interested in, and it's very easy for me to resist because I was a salesperson, in college. So I got, and then plus with the training that we've had, it's easy to shut something down if you're not interested in participating. But this was pleasant, why wouldn't you go along with it?
And you would use it to your advantage to use it for therapy. And I think
Sure.
that's what Stephanie was talking about as well.
Yeah.
You
Well,
can-
and what I did, I was a little conscious of as I was like looking up and thinking, it's like, oh, I'm doing a transderivational search right now. But it's, even though I knew that was happening, I still saw my childhood costume and, saw the line in my, well, I don't know if I don't actually see visual images, but, I have a memory of the line and what it was like and the feelings and all of those things.
That is a visual.
It is,
You-
but I
you
don't see
say
a
that
picture in my
often.
mind, right? It's
You
more
s-
like,
okay, you do say that, but you do see a picture. It's just not a picture that you think is a picture, if that makes sense.
this is an interesting topic for me because I think when I try to figure it out, like let's say I try to picture an apple, right?
Yeah.
I don't actually see an apple. I know exactly what it looks like. I can draw it. I can feel it. I can almost taste it, but I can't actually make my mind see an apple. However, when I'm dreaming, sometimes I see things in my dreams. So I don't know if it's due to my visual impairment or something else, but it's hard for me to consciously visualize. At the same time, I can close my eyes and walk through a room and know where everything is, right? So it's
Right.
interesting.
I think it's more of a case of you are visualizing.
Yes.
You just visualize at such a fast speed that you don't realize you're seeing the images.
Well, no, I think a lot of times people get confused with, because I'll say to my granddaughter, can you see it? And she says, no, but I know what it is. I know what an apple is, but I don't see it in my mind. I said, yeah, but you already see it. Remember, James, remember when we unlocked remember when I got you to see something?
Yeah,
in the doorway.
front door. Yeah.
But you
Yeah, I
said
mean, I
you-
can, right.
Yeah.
I guess the thing is I've talked to some people and they say they almost see like 3D movies when they're
well,
visualized.
that's them. Remember, the map
Yes.
is not the territory. The map
It-
is not
it-
the experience.
it's a
Just
skill.
because,
Yeah.
because
You know,
because you're thinking it's something you're going to see
Right.
physically,
Yeah.
but it really isn't. Not something you see. It's like when I used to do ghost chasing, and my son-in-law would say, I'd say, "There's a little boy sitting over there right now," and he goes, "You see that?" I said, "No, it's just there. It's just I just know it's there." So it's a what we used to do. I walked in this house, and I knew it was haunted. I could feel it, and I shut all this down now. I don't like it. It's
Can you see the
Just-
ghost in my room?
no. So I called my son-in-law and I said, "This is an interesting house." You ever see the old houses where they have a door behind the actual staircase?
Oh,
And
yeah.
they don't do that anymore. You never see it. But I opened up the door and there's a little kid holding his knees in a crunch position, and he's holding his knees and he's sitting there with his head down. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So I called my son-in-law and I said, this house is haunted. He goes, how, what do you mean? Because he's like a total skeptic. And I said, well, there's a little boy underneath the steps. So he comes over and we opened up the door and he goes, there's no one in there. I said, yeah, I can see him. You can't see him? And he goes, no. He says, you see him? I said, no, I don't see him. Oh, then why did you have me come all the way over here? I said, it's not what I'm trying to tell you. I see him in my mind. It's not like I see a picture or I see a movie or I see anything else. It's an image that's instilled in my mind. So I do see it. I used to say I was never visual, but I am visual. I used to say that I couldn't draw feelings, but I can draw feelings. Does that make sense to you?
You perceive it. You perceive
You
it.
perceive it.
Yeah.
And I gave you the example, James, of the door opening with the key, because you've done that so many times, just like if
Yeah,
you
that
were-
memory has like a kinesthetic feeling. And yeah, I know the color of the lock and the shape and, you know, the feeling
Yeah.
of the, you know, all those things. But I guess it's just, I would love to see things when I'm doing that, like I do in my dreams. But when I close my eyes, sometimes I just see swirling fractal patterns of colors and light,
Gotcha.
which
But
is
you
fine. And I use that during visualizations, but I can't necessarily control it. I can change the colors but I think that's feedback from my brain and, like I said, my visual impairment. So,
but you saw yourself because you described your
What is
family, your
I'm sorry.
family doing the costumes, and
oh
I mean,
yeah,
I was
it's
right
very-
there
yeah,
with you.
yeah, that's a
So-
very charged emotional memory and a good one. So,
But I
Yeah,
don't
oh.
think that people that weren't visual couldn't do what you did, describe it like you did.
yeah, I mean, I know exactly what the costume looked like. I know there's a picture, you know, I remember all of those details. I have a pretty good memory, but I just wish I could close my eyes and literally see like a 3D hologram of everything.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
It
used
might
to
just take
be-
practice. What's your visual impairment?
that's what
So
was
I
gonna
have
say,
something
I
called
used to be a lot less.
Stargardt's, which is a juvenile form of macular degeneration. And that's where the rods and cones in the center of my macula or the retina aren't processing light correctly. It's like little tiny
Okay.
scarring or dead spots. But macular degeneration is like the leading cause of blindness, but
Hmm.
you're not actually blind. You're just visually impaired, right? So like my
So
peripheral
you're-
vision is perfect. It's the same as y'all's, but you can't
gonna s-
read text very easily unless it's large. You can't read text easily with your
So like your
peripheral.
glasses don't really correct it, or do
They
they?
correct the lens problem, but they can't fix the retina problem,
Okay.
right? So like I see.
So you don't even know what to
Huh?
see. Yeah.
So
no, but
so Joe, real quick, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I just want to. Did you see what I just started,
sure.
Joe?
Yeah.
Did you
So
see?
you see how this all and basically at this point, I could start jumping in. I now I know how he works. I know how his unconscious mind works, and now I
Right.
can really start going in and start digging in because I've got some memories, I've got some metaphors.
Sure.
I'm going to start talking
Right.
about, the fact that he can overcome things because the force is with him, and the fact that his
Right.
parents can help him make that journey much easier, whatever that is. And he can see
Right.
clearer by a lot of different things. Even if he doesn't see it, he'll know that he senses it and he feels it, using
Right.
just his words back to him, as well as James, you're listening to. So I want you to see how we can, and see how easy it was for you. Now you're losing track, and I'm stopping you, but you're literally stopping from thinking now, and you're starting
Yes.
to talk.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I'm rolling back in my mind and all making
Right.
connections, and it's that hero's journey that, like when you were talking about that, like Luke Skywalker's journey, right? That's
Yes.
the story that really drew me in as a boy. And then probably there's 10 books I could name that have that same type of arc of a novice who finds a master or overcomes a big thing, learns, and I mean, it's Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, it's
Harry-
The Hobbit.
That's
Harry
what
it's-
Potter's-
hypnosis is.
Harry
all of
Potter's
those
doing
things.
Star
journey.
Wars with crappy lightsabers.
I actually did a whole I did a whole thing on how hypnosis is the hero's journey.
Yeah, I like that.
I did that on on the virtual conference. I had 6 minutes. So I explained the hero's journey, the hypnotic hero's journey in 6 minutes. I'll send y'all the link. I'll put it in
Okay.
Scott's group.
Was
if
that the
you wanna
Hypno
watch it.
Summit or a different conference?
It
That's
was
different.
the IMDHA,
Okay.
and it was like their whole, and he had 12 speakers, and we each had 6 minutes to give a
Okay.
presentation.
I'm
or-
about halfway through that video. I haven't got to yours yet.
You haven't got to mine yet?
Yeah.
I think I'm like number 6 or something. I think I'm midway through. I'm probably next.
Probably.
So I joined a little late. We had a little plumbing escapade at the house, but did you guys already go over Colin's videos?
I did not get them edited.
Ah, okay.
Um,
And I was going to skip, and then I thought it's right before Christmas, and I can wish everybody a happy Kwanzaa, Merry Festivus, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all the things.
Yeah. Happy holidays. I just summed it up like that.
I do have a video. It's just not of my stuff.
Ah, okay.
But the way you said that, I wonder what it is of.
Hey now.
Zoom has rules.
Really? Since because if we do, I want to know what they are so I can start breaking them.
Well, did you
I
give the
said
rundown of
Zoom.
this? When was the
Zoom
Sailor
has rules.
show?
We,
Was that
we
the
don't
other day?
have rules.
So that was
that?
a week ago last Friday, I had the Navy show.
Okay.
And
Did you guys already talk about that? Because I can watch the
Yeah.
video.
that was last week, talked about
Yeah,
that.
That's a
Then-
toxic fart video.
And then
Oh.
then Saturday night, I did 4 shows at the National Reconnaissance Office headquarters. And so yeah. And then last night was a quasi-military show. It was for a CrossFit gym that's run by a former Navy SEAL.
Do you think you'll get recruited now?
No, they
Never
already got
again,
me.
right, Colin?
They
Never
already
again.
got me. And so
Cool.
So what's this video?
So have any of you seen the Netflix mini series, just 3 episodes, Don't Pick Up the Phone?
No.
No, I saw the preview to that. It looked
Okay.
real interesting.
What I'm going to do here is I am going to play the trailer here.
Okay. I hate trailers.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a point behind
I
it.
understand.
And now to an unbelievable hoax that believes they many people fell victim to.
A caller pretending to be a police officer was apparently convincing enough to talk to managers into sexually abusing fast food employees.
Admit to this surge, then I'd be either arrested or lose my job or both.
A couple of police officers tell me there's a video of what happened here.
I'd never seen anything like it, and I've still never seen anything like it in 30 years.
The caller, of course, has committed the perfect crime because he's completely anonymous. We have a sexual predator on the loose, and the phone's still ringing every night.
Huh. Nothing like a little social engineering to
And hold on a second here.
That
Oh, Lisa's awake. I thought she'd fallen asleep in her car.
Oh, I'm driving.
Yeah. So this was something that went on for a decade. They are aware of 100 fast food restaurants where this guy successfully calls in, gets a manager on the phone, and ends up getting the manager to strip search, and in a number of cases, sexually assault mostly female employees. Goes on for 10 years, from about 97 to about 07, I think. I don't recall the exact timeline. And so I think it's fascinating because of all of the shit that people blame hypnosis for. There was no hypnosis involved here. But guess what? This guy manipulated people, and people did some pretty horrible stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's classic social engineering.
It is it's social.
Was it authority based?
Yeah, he said he was a police officer.
Well, he claimed
Yeah.
to be a police officer.
Yeah, so
He was, ironically, Joe, a corrections officer. And he
Oh,
was,
they finally caught him?
they caught him and he was acquitted.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
The only people who were convicted were people who were recipients of the phone calls. The jury of the guy that they caught, they were unable to buy into the idea that you could commit rape over the phone.
Yeah, I mean, that's a, what was
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, but the weird thing about that is, right, they put Manson in jail for leading a group of people and getting them to do bad things, right? And although he did probably kill at least one person, that's not why he went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yes, and it's like, and there's absolutely aspects of the Milgram experiment. There are aspects of how
is the Milgram the jailer experience?
the
No.
big one, the big one was where they have
Oh, okay.
in a room answering questions, giving the wrong answer, and the guinea pig in the experiment is shocking this person with increasingly intense levels of shock.
You're
And,
thinking of the Stanford experiment.
Yes, I was getting mixed up. Yep.
and so no, I just found this one to be very interesting. You know, I'm paying close attention to the language that they're saying or have recordings of this guy using, and he definitely wasn't using any of Bob's stuff, that's for sure.
Or maybe he was, but in the wrong way.
But no, it's like this was people buying into the myth of officer friendly, that the police officer is your friend, and if a police officer tells you to do something, you better do it.
See, I'd be totally immune to that.
I would too.
Well, I think people are getting more immune to it because there's more social media coming out anymore.
Yeah.
And people are starting to get tired of that.
Yeah, I know both Joe and I are fans of the First Amendment auditor videos.
I'm strangely fascinated by them, but I also find those people like abhorrent, some of them. You know?
Some of them, yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely.
They're
But
not
I-
all the same by any stretch.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
but
Some of them are very, they're just provoking people just to be
it's like-
provoking people.
It's like the ones that are minding their own business.
Yeah, like when somebody, typically it's a traffic stop, those are the ones I like.
Yeah, when it's something like that, that's one thing. Some of the auditors that go in and are actually looking for interactions, but they handle themselves professionally. They don't cuss at the officers. They're not abusive to the officers. They genuinely are educating the officers. Those I think are perfectly fine. But the ones that go in, try to basically be as abusive as possible. No, I got no room for those. And I got no room for the cops that try and define every person who asserts a constitutional right as some kind of a domestic terrorist or sovereign citizen or some crap.
In other news,
I agree, because I saw the one with the fire marshal and he had tinted windows. And basically the cops pulled him over for that. And he had a paper stating that he could have that from the state of Pennsylvania. And the guy was just detaining him for no reason. He brought his badge out. He's a fire marshal, all these things. And the cop was just not having. He was looking for every reason. You know, do you have a headlight out or something? He was just digging for anything.
Oh yeah, that's the interesting one when they tell you to turn your lights on so they can see if you have a headlight out. And I've seen
Yeah.
guys say, "No, I'm not turning my light on," so you can decide if I have an,
Or they want to
I've-
know how
I've
fast you were
used that
going.
one before. I've used that one before. No, I'm not turning my headlights on because I've had a cop ask me that. Now, granted, it was because I had headlight out. But no, I'm not turning my headlights on.
Look at that Schaefer one.
Well, what
in,
happens if you say
Phoenix,
no? I'm
Mesa.
not doing it.
You don't have to
Depends.
comply. He has no right to
have
tell
to.
you to
Tell
turn
the
your
state
headlights
you're
on.
You didn't break any law.
Oh,
Yeah,
it depends on the
it's one of
state
those
you're
things,
in?
though. I mean, I'm sure some of those people. I mean, I've seen people get assaulted by the police because of the way they were interacting with them. So it's kind of like
Don't be stupid. Just
it's a double-edged
do what they
sword, right?
say.
Like, yeah.
Well, this one guy's trying to comply everything he did. He still got shot 5 times.
Yeah.
Wasting right there on the floor for no damn
Well,
reason.
right. That's the thing. It's like one of these auditors may eventually get shot.
This wasn't even an auditor. This is just somebody they called. He answered. This guy was just he was going to shoot somebody that day. And he did. So Schaefer, look him up.
Yeah,
Daniel
I've had to
Schaefer.
deal with asshole officers and officers that weren't, and there's a difference. You know.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So I have a quick video, not so much on that, but that was really good. Thank you, Colin. I like to watch the 600-pound life. Not sure why I'm folding my arms right now. I'm interested in that. Like, why?
Anyways, go on.
I know I watched myself and then I started making comments about it. Sorry. And it's very interesting because I was always waiting for a psychologist to evaluate or talk to them and see how they're actually getting them to understand why the weight is where it is and what's going on in their head and all this other stuff. So I was excited last night because Brianne came on and she was going to her psychologist. And I'm like, good, now I'm going to get to see this finally where they help her and get to the root of the cause, or at least start talking to her about it. So I'm going to share it with you guys, and I want to see what your opinion is. And then
I'm going to just go out on a limb here right now and say that's not what happened, but let's see. I would love to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
What was childhood like for you?
I just felt like my dad called me fat names.
Where was your mom when this was happening?
She'd be like, Brienne, you were wrong. You should not be talking back. Or
Basically saying that she's choosing him over you. I think learning to stick up for yourself a little bit might be really helpful. Talking to your mom is probably a big step.
growing up, I just felt like
I'm not getting sound. Is it just me?
I'm getting sound.
I'm getting sound.
I'm getting sound.
Yeah, same here. I'm getting sound.
So it must just be you.
So I can play it again. Absolutely. What did you guys get so far out of that?
First, the psychologist is injecting ideas.
I was about to say, I just picked up on the leading question.
Yeah,
The
leading
psychologist.
questions for one.
Yeah, was he was leading her all the way. I mean, it was.
Oh yeah.
And I'll play it again, Lisa, so you can see if you can hear it. I
Yeah.
just want to catch whatever
Maybe
you
turn
guys.
it up a little bit.
Okay. Let me see where that is. Right here. It is all the way up.
Okay.
So I try it again for her so we
Yeah,
can.
try it again.
Okay.
I figured there was going to be a longer clip than that.
Yeah, it's not much. No, there's not much to it. It's your sound. I do have it all the way up. All right, here we go.
So what was childhood like for you?
I just felt like my dad called me fat names.
Where was your mom when this was happening?
She'd be like, Brienne, you were wrong. You should not be talking back. Or
Basically saying that she's choosing him over you. I think learning to stick up for yourself a little bit might be really helpful. Talking to your mom is probably a big step.
This totally violates me.
That wasn't leading at all.
Thank you. Oh my God, when I saw
Okay,
this,
so
my wife and I were watching this and I went ballistic. I'm like, oh
so
my
devil's
God.
advocate,
Yeah.
devil's advocate. That was absolutely cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
was cut.
And there may have
That's
been a
true.
lot of interaction in there that we didn't see that made him say those things.
He could have been repeating her. That's true.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That could have been there. There could be cuts there, but no, as it's presented, horrible. Absolutely horrible.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, a drama reality show is there to create drama.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there isn't any drama, they don't have a show.
So
they will fabricate it.
Well, and okay, you're on a show called My 600-Pound Life. Ostensibly, you're getting paid for this, probably really well, because I would imagine you have to pay someone pretty damn well for them to go on there and be that on national television, you know. So yeah, there's gonna at this point, if there wasn't secondary gain, there is now.
I don't know if they get paid or if they just get their surgery covered.
I think the surgery and the process and all that and their foods are supported. I don't think they get really a big payment like that. So
you don't have to pay people to get them to go on a reality TV show.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
All right, so leading, you Lisa caught that, and so did you guys. We all caught that, right? Leading.
Yeah.
That was
he
glaring.
He wants her to solve her problems by confronting her parents. How do you think that's going to go?
Not too good.
Yeah, probably not too
It's gonna
good.
be exactly what they want, which is drama.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So you're even if it does fix it, it's always temporary at this point, because it's not going to stick, because it's not really coming. So first of all, this is my point. If she goes to her parents, she can't turn back time. The parents can't fix it. So why bother? What I'm there, it's for me. I need to resolve it by resolving who I am and how I relate to them.
Yeah.
And then they will change their approach to me, but you can't change what happened in the past. So to me, it's a recipe for disaster. Because like you said, she's already had so much drama in her life from the actual.
Well, and like Lisa said, the show's about drama. So they're trying to put more drama in, you know. Like they do not have the best interest of the person on the show in their mind. Like they're not doing something altruistic to help that person have a better life. You know, that's not what it's about.
Do we agree that it's not going to be helpful to confront your parents and tell them how they suck as parents?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. It depends on how they sucked.
I agree with you, Bob. It's not.
No, because I mean,
J.K. Rowling's speech where she talks about there's an expiry date on what your parents did to you. At some point, it's up to you.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not done yet. So I'm sharing it again, and now you can get to see exactly what I was seeing as well. I'll can join in the frustration. Here's mom with her at dinner. Well, I'm sorry, lunch. My
So you're
grandparents.
super
got the thing.
defensive, right?
We're not only
Growing
well,
up,
hold on, pause.
felt
Okay.
Not only are we doing this stupid thing, we're doing it over food. That's just retarded. Like that. What? Like of all the ways to do it, what?
Thank you. And this is exactly what I was doing.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Scott. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
like Dad didn't love me.
I can see that.
But I didn't understand why you didn't do something to stop how he treated me.
I don't know. I can't answer that. This has been one of those days. Letting everybody down, yeah. I'm done.
Oh, talk about an anchor. Let's anchor
I was
more
afraid
with
this would
food.
happen.
Yep.
Oh.
Oof.
Yeah, that's
Did everybody get
terrible
chills
on
on that
so
one?
many levels.
Yeah, I wanted to
Wow.
puke.
Okay, did anyone notice the headline on that episode?
Mm-mm. What
Pull
is
back
it?
up, Bob.
How her possible pregnancy
Yeah.
derail her weight
Surgery.
loss journey. And so I immediately have questions
Sometimes questions shouldn't be asked, Colin.
that I'm going to.
Sometimes questions
Question
shouldn't be
one
asked,
is
Colin.
who, and question two is how.
Nature finds a way.
Oh my God.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. I think she ended up getting divorced because she was married and she had a child, but it was her stepchild. It's, I don't know. I didn't get to the end because I just couldn't see it anymore. I couldn't bear it. It's just like, oh my God, what is going on?
Yeah, it's that's like the idea of doing that was terrible. And then to do it over a meal is just, it's just insane. Like,
She's already got a eating problem. We're all going crazy here.
yeah.
Well, that's so
Stephanie's
she can have
scratching, I'm
something to
scratching.
comfort her.
Yeah, exactly. You think she ordered dessert after that? I have a feeling that that's probably what happened.
I think she reached across the table and grabbed her mom's plate.
Hey, everybody, I got to jump off here.
All
All
right.
right, buddy.
Okay.
Bye,
Catch you
Colin.
next week, Colin.
Thanks, Colin.
Actually, I'm not sure if
Take
we're going to
care.
do this next week. I'll probably, I
Okay.
mean, it's going to
Next
be
week is
Christmas Day.
Christmas,
Oh yeah,
so-
that'll be Christmas Day.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll
yeah.
probably
I
skip
won't be
next
here on
week.
Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, that's a rough one there, Bob. So in other news, I learned an interesting neuropsychological thing. I don't know what to classify it as, but I figure Bob can experiment with this, and the rest of y'all can too. Apparently, human beings do this thing that I didn't know about. And after you shake hands, within 3 to 5 minutes, typically, you will take the hands you shook with, and you will touch your eyes, your nose. You'll touch a mucous membrane. You'll touch a mucus membrane. Yes.
Gross.
Yes. You think it's gross, but it's actually your that's when you touch your mucous membrane.
I'll get COVID.
But that's when
I'm
you
scared to death of
decide
cold. Don't say
if the
that.
person is it's like dogs sniffing ass. Okay. That's when you decide whether or not the person is an okay person. It is apparently whenever you put their cells into your mucus membranes and somehow your body detects
Yeah,
whether or
I
not
heard about this
you know
during the
why?
pandemic. I never knew
Because
about it
it's not,
before.
it's not socially acceptable to lick people. That's why.
Yeah,
Oh, so you're
depends on
telling
which
me I have to
social
Yeah,
circles you're
Depends
traveling
on
in.
whose parties you're going to, right?
Yeah.
In
first
Scott's
meeting-
social circles, they are.
At
I
the
haven't-
first meeting, you know,
Haven't
no,
gotten
go
that
at least
first
get
link yet.
consent first.
But yeah, so apparently that's a things that humans do. So, we're all going to
Interesting.
be shaking hands, I'm sure, over the holidays. Just watch for people doing it. See if you can catch them. See if you can catch this little pattern that we do.
Well, more importantly, watch yourself and see if you can keep yourself from doing it.
Right. You probably
I'm
can't.
a germaphobe, so yeah.
Is this only the first meeting, or is this at every shaking hand?
I
opportunity?
don't know. That wasn't discussed in the thing, so I don't know. So, but I just found that really interesting that was something that, that's a social behavior that human beings have. And like James knew about it, but I had no idea about it.
Well, I only knew about it because of the pandemics. I saw somebody talking about, because have you seen those ones where they do like a die and then they have people
Yeah, like
interact and suddenly the die is like everywhere? It's like
Yeah.
The UV dye thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, another one is, and I think I talked about it earlier, become more aware of yourself when you're doing things to see how you're reacting. And then you can get really good at watching other people and then seeing how they react. Like when I was giving you guys a demo, I started doing this right away. I'm like, well, that's interesting. Why did I do that? I started talking about, well, I know why. because my father was overweight, my grandfather was overweight, all my family was overweight. So I struggle every day to
Well,
keep from
you
getting
know,
overweight.
did you ever take them to lunch and talk to them about that? Because apparently that's the solution.
Yeah, do it over like a banana split.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was perfect, Scott. The timing was right there. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Well, also it just made you uncomfortable, just,
Yeah.
oh, that
Yeah,
just,
because you knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you had already had that cringe reaction all the rest of us got.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like protecting yourself from this cringe.
No, so
Yeah.
at one point, Melanie and myself were looking to have one of the stomach surgeries to help us lose weight. And part of the process, we had to go to a psychologist and go through this process, and I could tell you that it was pathetic what you had to do to qualify. But anyways, I'm talking to her and I'm like, you realize like you're literally sitting here right now trying to determine whether or not I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. It's like, what the hell, man? But no, like the process that they put people through for that stuff is ridiculous. And I know that a lot of people get benefits from those surgeries. But there's also a lot of complications that I don't think they detail out.
There's
well
a better
enough.
option these days too.
And most of it comes back within a year.
Yeah.
A lot of
I
them
was going
do.
to say, I see a very small percentage that stay that way where they want to be.
Yeah.
Which I
Because your
don't
body
think-
has
I had a
set-
family member that it worked for like a year and then they ate through and basically like re-expanded their stomach.
Yeah. And that's your body just gonna talk about resistive, right? Like that's your body's gonna overreact to a drastic loss like that because the body is trying to maintain homeostasis, right?
Well, and the thing is, like, you didn't take care of the cause.
Right, the
Yeah.
root cause.
Yeah, you're not taking care of the
root cause, but also if you just lose weight incrementally, then you kind of trick your subconscious as to where your set point is. But if you do it dramatically, that's when people put back.
That's a good question. Do you think the set point lives in the subconscious or is it a physiological thing that's like?
I think it's a physiological.
We should ask
survival.
Barry Neal. He'll probably tell us it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Oh.
Ain't that his
Never
name? I don't
mind.
know.
I won't say anything.
Yeah.
Barry Neal?
We're being recorded.
I ain't afraid to say it.
I think that's great. And then people judge people when they're heavy. But then you have this whole thyroid thing. That's not something that they're overeating or undereating. It's literally their body is not burning that. So, it's easy for someone that's thin to say, oh, well, that guy, why didn't you just stop eating? And most cases that's true. But there are cases where people literally have medical conditions that they're eating literally 100 calories a day and they're still putting on all this weight.
Yeah. And
because-
women going through menopause.
Oh, that's a fine example.
Yeah.
Right. And then all the blood sugar issues and things.
Well, and you've got the 50% insulin problem, right? So 50% of the insulin you produce, you don't produce because you ate food. It's not produced in response, right? It's a baseline, and you have a higher baseline based on how much you weigh. So the more you weigh, the higher your baseline. But no matter what your baseline is, when you eat, your blood sugar spikes 5 to 7 times your baseline. So the more you weigh, the higher your baseline is, and the higher your insulin is. And therefore, the heavier you get, the harder it actually is to lose weight, because that insulin is at a baseline that's elevated already.
Yeah.
And insulin is what causes you to store fat.
Right.
So
I know intermittent fasting is so, it's been proven many, many, many years for a long time that it's really healthy.
Oh yeah,
but
and
it's not what people think it is. People say, well, intermittent fasting, well, I just don't eat for 2 days and then I eat again. And no, that's okay. That's one form of
That's
intermittent
fasting.
fasting.
Intermittent fasting was better classified as time restricted eating.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Where
And
you
that's
eat for
Yeah.
4
really
or 8
key.
hours
And
a day.
actually time delay is better word than restricted, right?
I like that. Yeah.
Sure.
You're just delaying your eating, your time.
Yeah, you have an eating window every day. And the reason that intermittent fasting and even fasting both work is because they lower that insulin baseline.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason both of them work. Is
Yes.
because the only thing that lowers the natural insulin baseline is fasting.
But
That's the only thing we know that we can do without like drugs or chemicals to lower insulin production.
The fasting is a little scary because I've seen a lot of people do it and they actually put on twice the amount of weight when they do it.
Yeah.
Intermittent
I've never seen
fasting.
that happen. But
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a couple of cases that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
And because they starve and then they so hungry that they go back and eat and they want to eat more and crave more fats.
Mm-hmm.
But the intermittent fasting, and I can contest to this because I'm one of them, is at least 12 hours. So if you're stop your eating at 7 or 6, or they recommend 6 o'clock, no later than 6 to eat. And then 6 to 6 is beautiful because you're healthy and one of the biggest things I was making, the biggest mistake was as soon as I get up, I ate and I destroyed the fast that I actually did because I was pumping in carbs or whatever else in my system. And I was told, I did some research and they said, delay it a little bit more to get your body up and running and starting to do what it's doing. So what I normally do is I'll get up in the first 20 minutes and then I take a shot of olive oil. It's, and that is supposed to be good for inflammation. That's good fatty acids. It's supposed to be doing a lot of things for you. A teaspoon and a half, I think it's calls for. And it burns. You got to chase it down with water.
MCT oil.
Well,
also
if you
works well.
float, so for the olive oil, Bob, if you float it on a top of a glass of water, you can
Okay.
shoot it without it burning.
Okay. Yeah. I shoot it and then I do water at the
Did
same
you
time.
use MCT oil instead, or does
It's
it
good.
need-
That's, I have.
It's another good one.
I have
I
MCT
used to do the
bars.
olive oil. I would just float it on a glass of water and then swallow it. It was fine.
Yeah.
Didn't
Just
even
have a
taste
piece
it.
of
You're
avocado.
good fat avocado oil, coconut oil, bacon back grease, believe it or not, tallow, olive oil. Let's see what else.
I like coconut oil in my coffee, but I don't drink coffee.
Yeah, butter.
Yeah.
That's another good
Speaking
one.
of coffee, if you do caffeine on a regular basis, if you can avoid your first consumption of caffeine for 90 minutes after you wake up, you'll avoid the crash that you have from drinking
Really?
coffee. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I still
the
haven't
reason
gotten Alan on board with that. He's
the
still not
reason you
down.
have the crash is because it's I don't remember what the enzyme's called, but it's caffeine actually works by adenosine. Yeah, there you go. It's an adenosine inhibitor, right? And if you wake up and you let the adenosine clear out of your body for about 90 minutes before you drink your coffee, then the caffeine you won't have that caffeine crash.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
good
the
to
only time
know.
I want coffee is when I.
And if you want to kick your coffee into turbo, chase it with grapefruit juice.
Oh, good God.
That works for all stimulants.
Really?
So tell me more about MCT oil, because I know I have bars that have MCT.
It's basically really pure coconut oil,
Yeah,
But it doesn't really have a flavor to it. So-
right. It goes in. It's absorbed directly through the intestines, unlike a lot of other stuff. It's straight through.
Does it raise your cholesterol?
No.
Mm-mm.
If you go on a high fat, low carb diet, your cholesterol drop like a rock, regardless of
No,
what fat you're
I
eating.
love my carbs. I am not getting rid of them.
Hey,
Yeah,
fair enough.
well,
They work for you. Get them.
If you like them, go for it. I
I
like
mean,
them. Unfortunately, they like me too much too.
I usually hit them usually early in the morning.
Some bodies need carbs and some don't.
Some
and
people.
I had I took a test and my body takes in almost equal 50% carbs, 50% like
Mm.
proteins and
I
What
know.
fats.
test did you do?
What was that test? Justina, you had that test done too, right? With
Is it
your
a
nutritionist?
microbiome?
I'm trying to remember what
DNA
it was
fit or
called.
No,
something?
You had to
I'm
breathe
not sure
into
what
the-
you had. The one I did was from the DNA company, and it basically tells you, it's like self-care in a box. It tells you whether you process fats really well, whether you process vitamin D really well. It kind of tells you like they look at certain genes specifically, and then they tell you how well your body does based on that, and they give you recommendations.
Oh, I think I did that one. That was the one I was telling you about with, I got the MTHFR.
Yeah.
This
Yeah, I got
was,
that
Yeah.
too.
I can't remember the
Yeah.
name of the
See,
test,
that's
but my
weird. When my wife got
nutritionist-
that, when my wife got diagnosed with that, they told her like it was really rare. Almost nobody had it. And now I got this tiny ass Zoom group and 2 people in here have it.
Yeah, no, that's very common.
Yeah.
And it just yeah. Did they tell her to take methylated vitamin B?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
taking. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
She takes a multivitamin and like I said, it was life changing. It was
It,
life
it is life changing. I'm not going to
It's
lie.
very common.
Well,
I
yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
brain fog
Stephanie,
anymore.
were you talking about a sensitivity test, or were you talking about like a DNA test?
No, I was talking about, it was this machine that I breathed into for like 20, 25 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then that somehow,
Yeah, they were probably measuring. Yeah, they're measuring the gases, and they can figure out your metabolic rate.
yeah, that's it. It was the metabolic test. My metabolic rate. It was, yeah, metabolic. What was it called? But it was my I call her a nutritionist, but she's a functional medicine specialist or whatever. And so she was like, well, because she was putting me on a nutritional diet or what I could eat, and she was like, your body likes to burn. Actually, my body likes to burn a little bit more carbs than protein. So she's like, you're like, if people whose bodies do that, like if you don't get enough carbs, then you're gonna have problems.
Yeah,
So
Irish are real bad like
some people
that.
actually have to have carbs.
Yeah, a lot of Irish are like that. Don't get carbs, they could actually eventually be fatal.
Who?
The Irish.
Oh, the Irish?
Genetically predisposed to need carbs, as are a lot of the largest
Yeah, I'm
portion of the
Italian.
Indian population.
I'm genetically disposed to need pasta all the time.
Amen. So I was diagnosed with high cholesterol. I brought it up way in the beginning when we were first meeting up, and the doctors keep wanting me to get on statins. So I've come to the conclusion, I definitely do not want to do that. I'm not going that way. However, there's a test called, I found it online, called CAC test, coronary artery calcium test.
Yeah, that's a good test to get.
And from what I read, my doctor said she wouldn't give it to me because it was expensive and she didn't know if I could get it covered. I went online. The cost is between $100 to $400 for this test. I called the specialist to see if I could get an appointment and how much it would be. I was shocked. It's $99 for the test and $99 for the x-ray technician to look at it. But they still want my doctor to give the prescription. And I'm in dread. I mean, what is it called when you're in lock, when you're in that space? I was going to say dreadlock, but that's what they have.
Just tell your doctor to give you the prescription.
I did. I called. I haven't had it's been Tuesday, last Tuesday.
Tell your doctor to give you the prescription. Be like, I don't care how much it costs. I have the money.
I'm
Give me
paying
the
for it.
prescription. I want the test.
Because
And
I'm doing, yeah.
If they say they don't want to give you the test, then say, okay, I'll get a new doctor.
Well, exactly where I'm going. I'll just
Yeah.
self-pay. Because then
Yeah.
I know if my cholesterol is high, but my CAC is good, then
Then
why
you don't have to-
I don't need to do anything.
Cholesterol has never been linked to heart disease.
Well, it depends.
There's
depends
never
on
been a
which type.
study that links cholesterol to heart disease. It's never been done, I promise you.
Yeah, I don't know that answer, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be thinking of a correlation, but the size of the particles is correlated with heart disease.
Okay.
Stephanie's got something.
Bob, Natocera. It's a supplement. My nutritionist gave this to me or said I should take it. If you get it by Doctor's Best, you can order it off of Amazon, but that's a good company. And that will lower your cholesterol like very quickly.
This
Well,
is
I
not
know-
medical advice.
I know,
I'm not a doctor.
yeah, I
Not a
know I've
doctor,
been
this is not
trying to
medical
take
advice.
supplements.
She was
for-
like,
According to her nutritionist.
well, according to my nutritionist, not me,
Anyways.
but she said, no, of course you have to still eat healthy and get all those levels back, but this will like very quickly get your cholesterol levels back to
So-
normal.
What were you saying, Bob?
I've been trying to do different supplements with cholesterol and to no avail. I'm not
Did you
getting
do
good.
Did you do the Natocera?
What
No,
are
I
what are
haven't
your
done that
what are
yet.
your numbers?
Do
What are
that.
your numbers?
268 or something like that, 250.
Okay. What have you done to
So-
lower your cholesterol?
So first, when I first started, my triglycerides were 500,
Oh, wow.
and he said I was close to a stroke. That was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So all I changed was in the morning I eat oatmeal,
Okay.
and I eat a lot of fiber, and I
Okay.
cut out sodas and all that other stuff. And
Yeah, because
my
there's a connection to the amount of sugar and
Sugar.
carbohydrates you're eating.
exactly. So now my triglycerides are spot on.
Okay.
But my bad cholesterol is slightly elevated, and that's what they're concerned with.
And this is an enzyme that clears your arteries.
So
and
how
stuff.
often do you lift heavy shit?
Me, never.
Go start a resistance workout.
Huh.
Start a resistance workout.
Actually,
If you have-
I'm
If you
I'm
have too
meeting with
much
somebody
cholesterol,
tomorrow.
use it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and here's the thing, and I don't mean this to sound silly, but Bob, you got resources. You can't take it with you. Start spending it on your health because
Oh, I
it
am.
sounds like you're already on that path. But
Yeah,
Yeah, start a regular resistance routine.
I'm in the process. I'm meeting with somebody tomorrow. He's
Yeah.
he's a trainer. So, like you said, James, I got the money. I'm gonna spend
Yeah,
it. So
do it.
yeah, I have somebody. I don't have your resources, but I have somebody coming to my house twice a week just because I don't drive. So it's actually cheaper for me to have the person just show up at my house.
okay.
How
That's
how
nice.
how bad did the gout episode knock you off your Peloton streak?
Well, I kept the streak alive using some sheer force of will and trickery, but yeah, I'm on a 54-week streak, but I
impressed.
haven't been able to work out with my foot for 3 weeks, and before that, I had the flu for 10 days.
So
So it's been rough.
Is it gout? Did they determine that it was gout, or was it a fracture, microfracture?
I'm not sure. I won't be sure until the 28th. It's most likely gout, but it felt like it was my foot was broken, and I'm still having,
It feels
very-
terrible.
But the reason they thought it might not be gout is because normally gout resolves within like 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
And mine was just staying the same. So
I've broken my foot before. I would rather do that than have gout.
yeah, this is it's horrific.
Yeah.
So I'm pounding
Interesting.
in like
Don't
5
feel
of
real
these.
good in the knees either. Just saying.
Yeah. But I've managed to lose 14 pounds despite that. So I'm
Awesome.
not gonna let it stop me.
You're gonna be in like you're gonna have abs by the time we get to Hypno Thoughts, man.
Oh, it's Operation Speedo, baby.
Yeah, Operation Speedo.
I'm gonna be tan. I'll dress up like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
May the force be
As
with
I
you,
recall,
right?
he didn't have a very dark tan.
Good point.
There's all that snow exposure.
Which is
And I think he had a little
troubling
more hair
because
than
he
both
comes
of
from a
us.
desert. He comes from a desert. He's like, why does this snow?
But what if the suns
know.
didn't produce UVA rays? Maybe we don't know what kind
And
of
they have
suns
two
they had.
suns.
Yeah, they
I
had
don't
two
know.
Yeah.
suns. We don't know what kind of light they produce though. Maybe they didn't produce enough light for tanning. Who knows?
But yeah,
Questions only George Lucas can
That's
answer.
the place
the nice
for
thing
me.
about Peloton is it doesn't. it gives you credit whether you worked out hard or not. So like this week I rode for 15 minutes and just to get the blood flow and just to have, do something, but I can't put a lot of pressure on that foot yet. So
I do 3 miles a day on the treadmill.
Oh yeah.
Which is, I love.
Well, I was doing 4 zone 2 cardio workouts a week and it was really being effective, but then this knocked me off. But I think I'm like 2 days out from it just being gone.
Wow.
Another
Thank you,
thing
Stephanie,
you could do
for
to help
that.
your another thing you can do to help your cholesterol, Bob, is you can join a fight club.
Yeah, no, not anymore. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I've been down that road.
No, for exercise.
Yeah, well, my teeth are good now. No more black eyes, no more teeth. I did that long enough. Got
You
my
find
second.
out that doesn't matter if you win or lose, it's still damn well hurts.
Yeah.
No, it does not hurt the same. When you
Yes,
win,
it
it does
does.
not hurt the same. It
Next
absolutely
day, I
does not.
guarantee it does. I got tired of that.
Yeah.
I was in the martial arts for many years and it was
Which
good.
style?
Shotokan karate,
Okay.
Japanese.
It's a hard form. Yep.
Very hard. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Bars of Germany drunk.
Mhm.
I'm not sure what style that is, but sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
Yeah, they're all different.
I think that's drunken jackass kung fu.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
It's similar to drunken monkey, but the forms are a little different.
Oh
So
my
this
God.
this may derail the
yeah.
conversation, but I love to watch those videos on YouTube of the wise master doing like something like that, and then the people just like flopping because of his energy or his chi. Have you guys watched those?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
Yeah. There's a little bit of hypnosis in there too, by the way.
I watched a great one.
That's why I like it. Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I watched a great one. Guy, when them old masters had a young guy get him in a lock hold, and he took his pinky and just twisted that dude's pinky and put him on his knees. It's like, yep, finger foo, it'll work every time. It's amazing how painful fingers are when they bend the wrong way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna call it a night.
Oh, you're gonna call it a night, huh? We see how it is. We see how it is, Bob. No, it's actually getting up there. So
I need to call
Yeah.
it too. 'Cause
we've been rocking it for 2.5
I've got
hours.
clients in
so
the morning.
Dang.
we
Time
can,
flies. Dang.
yeah.
This has actually been a great session. And I want to thank everybody that was helping out with that, by the
No
way.
problem.
Oh,
No
amen.
problem.
Appreciate it.
That's what it's all about, my friend. That's what it's all about. So,
I mean, I might be silly doing that kind of stuff, but yeah, when somebody's smarter than you, been doing something a lot longer, it's good to listen.
Yeah.
Saves you a lot of headaches. So I do
Beautiful.
appreciate it.
we'll catch everybody in 2 weeks because I'm gonna just call it. We're not gonna do one next week. It's gonna be
All right.
Christmas.
Happy
We're gonna
holidays.
take
Happy
it off.
holidays. Take care.
Happy
Likewise.
holidays.
See you next
Bye.
year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Happy-
happy
yeah.
holidays, all of those.
Bye.
Bye.